mean? What does successful look like? How do we know that we're on the right path? If you're new here, welcome. Thank you so much for joining me. If you don't already, like, subscribe, follow, whatever it is that you're doing, the platform that you're watching this on, can you do that for me? It really helps the algorithm. I just realised I never put my microphone on, so apologies if you didn't hear that first little part properly. Yeah, success. That was unsuccessful not having my microphone on. Never mind. I've had this conversation several times in the last week with different people under different circumstances, with different views and outcomes. The social constructed definition of success looks like the house, the car, the stuff, the designer labels, the hustly culture, this capitalist, more, bigger numbers, continual growth, whatever that means, doing better than you did last year. What are you even doing if you've not increased your turnover and your income by X amount year on year? And while that might be absolutely fine for some people, the women that I've been speaking to recently are not buying it. We're like, nah, this doesn't fit for me. This doesn't feel right for me. This doesn't work for me. And through these conversations, what is really important to understand, and I've spoken about this before on the podcast, is about knowing your values. It's the first task that I get you to do, and technically the second task after you've done your wheel of happiness. Which wheel of happiness? Like, know where you're at right now. Like, what is in alignment, what is out of alignment. That's the first task I would get you to do. And then the second one being, what are your values? Like, what is the moral compass that you live by? What makes your heart sing? What makes you feel like you are being you? And when you know what those values are, and you know your personal definition of each of those values, and I've spoken about this before, about my top value being freedom, and what freedom means to me is going to be completely different to somebody else. So for me, it's having a house. I have my home, mortgage free. I have now 2 cars, because me and Chris needed to have 2 cars. So we've got, one of them's fully paid, the other one is on a 4-year payment plan. Having a solid relationship. But for other people, freedom might be not being in a relationship, not having a home that they go back to every single night. It might be that nomadic life. So for me, freedom means one thing. For somebody else, it means something else. And your value might not even be freedom. It might look like something completely different. So knowing what your top 3 to 5 values are, really important. And then defining what success means to you. What does that look like to you? What does that feel like to you? How do you know when you get there? How do you know that you feel successful? Because if you don't know what that is, what that looks like, then you're constantly going to feel less than and feel like you need to strive for more, because you don't feel content with what you might already be there. If you sat down and went, well, actually, what success looks like is X amount of money coming in, having so many holidays, having the car, whatever that looks like to you. And it can be under this capitalist umbrella of stuff, but it might also be something completely different. I had conversations with people who are self-employed and also people who are in employment, and people who feel successful in both of those camps. So myself and my friend Jules, who's been on the podcast before, Jules talks about having a rich life. What does a rich life look like to you? For her, it's known that on a Monday morning she can go for coffee with her friend and she doesn't have to be signed in at a desk at a particular time. Having that flexibility of, do you know what, I'm really not feeling it today, so go and do something else. When you're self-employed, you definitely have more flexibility to do that sort of thing, but then you don't have that security necessarily of a definite income coming in every month. I have a couple of other friends who are in employment. One of them is really assessing what she wants. Like, she's on a good salary, she's really flexible within her ability of where she works, so she can live that nomadic life, but and have the job and have this so security. But for her, there's something missing, and that's something that she's exploring of what is it that she actually wants. And then I've got another friend who, I've got a couple of other friends actually who are in employment, and they have been able to structure their working week where they work 3 long days, have 4 days off. They know how much money's coming in, but they've also got some flexibility around their working times. They've created structure around it for their lifestyle. And then I also have friends who work the grind Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, don't really like what they're doing, not really happy, have got money coming in, but they wish they were doing something else. I also know people who are self-employed, have had the conversation where I don't want to be any more successful because I don't want to be any busier. And it's like, well, that means that you're already successful, because there isn't a next step for you to grow into because you're already at that place. And it's a really interesting conversation. And this is a conversation I'm having particularly with women. And we're all questioning, is this because of our age? Is this, we are all 40 plus, some coming up into 50, some already in their 50s. Is this an age thing? Is this because we have learned and we've already done the hustle and the working 7 days a week, the burnout, we're maybe living with chronic illness, we're maybe realizing that there's certain things missing from life, or that we've actually got everything we need? Is this just an experiential thing, or is it how the tide of the world is turning? Because I'm even seeing some male people who talk about business saying that success isn't about the money in the bank, it's about the life that you create around it. Now, some of these men are already multimillionaires and they are financially secure, and then are stepping back going, hang on a minute, this isn't about the money, this is about other things. So you're kind of like, yeah, maybe you've already got the cash in the bank. What about the people that don't have the cash in the bank and maybe don't have that financial security? How do they work it out? Because they feel like they need to make the hustle, do the work to bring in. But also, how much money do you really need? Like, look at your lifestyle, look at the bills that you've got going out. How much of that is essential? How much of that could actually be tweaked and changed to different things? So I've been looking at my supplement regime because I realised how much money I was paying out on a variety of different products. And I've started looking at, well, is there an alternative, more natural way that I can do this? Is there, do I actually still need this supplement? Maybe I needed it for a period of time to get my body into a particular healed space. Do I still need to be having this product? Is it a cheaper alternative? And looking at, well, what car are you driving? Is that financially viable? Is it a cheaper alternative? Your home, if you're staying in a 5 bedroom house and there's only 2 of you, do you really need all of those? Can you downsize? What are you outlaying? That, do you really need to have those outlays? Is there a way to be able to tweak that, to change that, to bring those expenses down so that you have more to spend on the things that you want to spend on? And it's such a continuum, because what's important to you now might not be important to you in 5 years. What was important to you 5 years ago, when you review it, might not be important to you now. So I would encourage you and invite you to have a look at every aspect of your life. Do that wheel of happiness that's in the very first chapter of my book, in the introduction. Look at that wheel of happiness. Look at, where's your health at, your relationships, your fun, your money, your, I can't remember what other headings, your religion and spirituality, if that's what feels relevant. Look at all these different aspects, and then also go and look at your finances. look at what you have going out, look at the subscriptions that you've got going out, look at what are you actually using, how can you assess, especially if you feel like you're pinching and there's a lot of talk about cost of living crisis and prices of stuff going up. So it's really useful to review every aspect of your life and then see what can be amended, what can be changed so that you can feel more fulfilled. You can feel happier and more content because you might already be successful and not realize that you're successful because you just haven't acknowledged it. I would love to know your thoughts on this. I would love to know your experience on this. So drop it into the comments, send me a message. I would really, really enjoy hearing your insights on this topic because it's important, especially when you're caught up on social media looking at what everybody else's highlight reel is. And maybe you're comparing yourself to other people, thinking that you're not doing as well as you actually are doing. And when you don't know what's important to you, when you don't know what it is that you actually need, it can be very difficult and you can send yourself in a spiral. So please do check it out. My book, 9 Rules to Sort Your Shit. You can check that out. If you need any help with this, please do get in touch. I might have some availability for some coaching to help you guide you through this. And if not, remember to like, share, follow, blah, blah, blah. And I will see you on the next podcast. I've got a couple of very exciting guests coming up on the podcast. I'm looking forward to speaking to them. I've had amazing podcasts, so make sure that you go back and check out past episodes if you haven't already. And otherwise, I'm going to see you on the next episode.